I'm going to basically draw a 4-bedroomed house. So let's get my ruler and go, that is your foundation. This ruler is rubbish. I'm going to get a better one. This is a better ruler. Right, let's draw the foundations of the house. So this is going to be the downstairs of the house. And then we'll go up to here, to the ceiling, and up to here to the ceiling again. And we'll go this for the roof. And then the roof will be like so. Like that. And like, oh sugar, like that. How many houses do you see with a flat roof? Not many. So this one hasn't got a flat roof either. And then it's going to be 2-story. So we're going to have that along there. And what we're going to have down the bottom, we'll have the entrance. We'll have the lounge. We'll have downstairs toilet. Downstairs WC. What else got downstairs? Kitchen. And then dining room. D-I-N-I. Right, and let's separate these up. The lounge doesn't have to be that big. So we're going to go like that with the entrance hall. The downstairs toilet, that should have been the smallest. Kitchen will be the biggest. And then upstairs, obviously, from the kitchen, are we going to have the stairs? Pfft, why not? So we're going to have the landing here. We'll have the landing on there. And we'll have the bathroom here. And then main bedroom. And then we'll have 3 bedrooms this way. There we go. Nice and small ones. The kids' rooms basically. Bed 1, bed 2, and bed 3. There we go. And there are your bedrooms. So then, and for each of these rooms, we're going to need a light. So the light in the entrance, a light in the lounge, a light in the downstairs toilet, a light in the kitchen. Well, the thing is, let's do a couple of lights in the kitchen because these are more likely going to be down lights. So let's say 6 down lights in the kitchen. And the dining room will just have 1. Main bedroom will just have 1. Bathroom will have 1. Landing will be 1. And then in the bedrooms, we'll just keep it standard and have 1 light in there. So that'll be a lighting. But then also, we've got to consider is outside lighting. So we might want to put a couple of outside lights as well. So that'll be included in the wiring as well. We've got to think of that. Right, and then let's do some purple, I think. Sockets. Right, in the entrance, we're going to want a socket for basically for the Hoover, the Wi-Fi, anything like that inside of there is going to be, you're going to need a socket. So in the lounge, you're going to have at least 4, I'd say. Look like a couple of boobs. Downstairs toilet, you ain't have none in there. Kitchen, you're going to have quite a few. Quite a few sockets in the kitchen. In the dining room, again, what you're going to have 3. Because you might have a lamp, something like that. And in the bedroom, again, you're going to have 4, I'd say. And in the bedroom, let's do 2 in that one. Oh, sugar, that's the bathroom. Which is how much I'm taking attention. Landing, again, we'll have 1 on the landing for hoovering and convenience, stuff like that. And in the bedrooms, we'll just have 2. These are small rooms. But obviously if you're wiring it, you can do more. We just want to see how we're going to wire this basically this house. And this is basically considering if it's a new build. Well, basically you can use it if it's a rewire as well. Because if someone moves into it and they've only got one socket in each bedroom, you're going to design it to basically do it all again. Right, and then with this property as well, the entrance will be where the consume unit is. So we're going to say the consume unit is there and the main head is the outside. So that's the main head where it comes in. This is going to get messy, I can tell. I've had to pull a stool in because, well, I've broke a couple of ribs and a shoulder blade. I need to sit down. Right, so in this kitchen, we're also going to have a cooker point. We're going to have a cooker point and maybe a hob as well. So we've got to remember that. We're going to put a hob, electric hob and electric cooker in there. So then, where would you start? Where would you start wiring? What are you going to do first? What I'll always do first is do the longest runs, the ones that are further away. And then taking into consideration as well, when you are going through the joists or drilling your holes, for the roots of the cables, is basically take consideration that you're going to have more cables than one going through. Don't think, right, I've got one 6mm going through, I'm going to drill a 20mm hole. Don't do that, drill a 32mm hole, because more likely you're going to have more cables going through. But then if it isn't a rewire, if it isn't a new build, you're going to do all your chases first, obviously. Do all the chases first, do them in a one-up. It helps massively to get the mess out of the way. Right, so from here, from the fuse board, we haven't put the fuse board up yet. We're not going to put the new fuse board in. Hopefully we'll put a temporary fuse board in, so then we don't have to worry about the existing cables that are in there. If it's a rewire, once again, there's two different ways of doing it. I'm just doing this as a new build. Right, so in here, I'm going to basically take my own supply 6mm all the way in the joists, basically to that cooker supply. So that's going to be a 6mm for the cooker, because then sometimes I might have a double oven, a single oven that's fan assisted, fine, you can put it on a 20 amp. But if it's 6mm, then it will take into consideration for the future. And then also I'd run another 6mm, go down there to the hob. Sometimes make sure as well that they're not going to put some fancy massive hob in, because you might need a 10mm for it. So I would just run a 6mm into that hob as well. And then I'd concentrate on using that same route where I'm pulling the longest runs in. So basically you're pulling the run in for the dining room. All you want, what you're going to have in there, you're going to have a couple of lamps, if that, phone charger. So I would just pull a radial straight in to these sockets, to the furthest one, then loop it out. Oh, there isn't one there, but we'll put one in that dining room now, look, one there. So that's 4 sockets in that dining room, and that is all them 4 sockets on one 16 amp radial. That's all I'd do in there. And because the lounge is at this end, I'd do exactly the same for the lounge. Put that on its own 16 amp radial. So then always remember as well your end of line, because when you're second fixing, that's the last one you're going to leave off. You'll second fix, do the rest of them, be fine. But if you leave the end of line off for your testing. So that'll be your sockets wired in there. And then for a kitchen, it depends how big that kitchen is. If it's a kitchen without a utility room, you're not going to have any utility room where you can run its own supply off for a 4mm for the washing machine, the tumble dryer, stuff like that. So possibly in the kitchen, I would run a 4mm to the sockets like that. But it depends if they've got 2 in there, like a washing machine, tumble dryer, dishwasher. I might run another 4mm to make 2 circuits in that kitchen, because you've got 2 dedicated circuits for the oven and the hob, and then a dedicated circuit for the sockets. So just run a 4mm in there, which can be on a 32 amp fuse as well. So then that is your sockets wired downstairs. So then upstairs, I would also split these up. So basically, I would go up here, I'd pop up to that one on the landing, and then go round to the main bedroom. So basically, then there on its own 16 amp radial, just a 2.5 cable, because what you can have in a bedroom again, you can have a lamp, you can have a TV, you can have nothing drastic that's going to be in there. So you don't need a lot of power in there. 16 amp supply on a radial circuit will be plenty in a bedroom. And then again, these 3 bedrooms, I think 16 amp across these will be plenty as well. So just one radial to go straight in and across and basically wire these sockets in the bedroom. Because for 3 bedrooms, they're not going to be pulling a massive amount of juice. They're going to be TVs, plugging in their PlayStations or phone chargers, things like that. So it's not going to be enough again. So basically upstairs has got 2 circuits that are nicely separated. And then that landing one, it'll just be on with the main bedroom. So basically you've got 2 upstairs socket circuits. And then we want to go ahead and do the lights. Now the lights, I'd always keep the outside lights on their own circuit, because if anyone goes along and fits an outside light and, I don't know, let's say that it just pops a fuse, it gets water inside, then that's going to disrupt the lighting in the house as well. So stick the outside lights on their own supply. And obviously you want to find out where that switch is going to go. Let's work that out. So the switch for the outside light will go by the front door, which will be there. And let's do a switch there for that. Switch there for that downstairs toilet. Switch there for that. And a switch there for that. Switch for that bedroom. Switch for that. Switch for the landing. Switch for that bedroom. Switch for that bedroom. Switch for that bedroom. And then this is how I'd wire it. You might find that some of them are different. They've got a ceiling raise, the 3-plate system, where they've got the live coming in, live going out. But these days, and I know that new builds do this all the time because I've worked in new builds, you take the live and neutral down to the switch. Just take the live and neutral down to the switch and then wire out from there to your light, and then obviously go through the house to that other outside light. And then you've got them 2 lights on an outside circuit. They're on their own dedicated circuit. They're on their own RCBO in effect. And then for these downstairs ones, I would keep on its own circuit again from the fuse board, live and neutral into the switch, live and neutral into the switch of the downstairs toilet, live and neutral into the kitchen, and live and neutral into the dining room. Basically, I'd loop the live and neutral so it ends at the dining room. And then from the switch, you just take a live and neutral up. You can take a live and neutral up, which would just be a switch live and a neutral up to the light, or you can be proper fancy and have a 3-core. You can have a live, permanent live, and a neutral up at the light. A lot of people will not use that permanent live, but just in case in the future, if someone gets a fancy smart light or a fan maybe in there that requires a permanent live. So that would be a good idea to have a permanent live at that light fitting. But you don't have to do that. This is just over the top. This is how I'd do my own house if I was wiring a house. And then from here, because as well, you're going from that switch and you'll just be live and neutral, live and neutral, live and neutral, live and neutral. Basically to the 4 to the 6 down lights. So in there's no junction box where you've got to put for the lights. It's basically continuous wires. If any time there's a problem, you can always figure it out from the light switch. There's gonna be a live and neutral and you switch live going out in there. So in my eyes, it's easiest to fault find if you wire it like this. And then the live and neutral up to the switch for that as well. But then also, in a downstairs toilet, you're gonna have a fan. So then with the isolator for the fan as well, you will use that and just wire it straight out to that fan. So basically they've got one cable coming from the isolator into there. And then again, the lounge, you just got a live and neutral down to there. Right. And the entrance hall, right, the entrance, we didn't put the stairs in, did we? Forgot the stairs. Right, from the entrance, you're gonna have the switch, they'll go up to that light. But then also, up to the landing, you're gonna wanna control that light as well. So, from this switch, you wanna put a 3-core. 3-core, we better do it in a different color. Let's use pink. So a 3-core coming out of there to that switch. So that's gonna 2-way this light. So you've got the live and neutral coming in there. Yes. Trying to figure this out and about. Your live and neutral coming in. So then you've got your 2-way switch that will do this light down here. So you can turn the light on and off at the bottom of the stairs. But then when you do your upstairs lighting circuit, you'll go into this, you'll live and neutral out again, live and neutral out, live and neutral out, live and neutral into the bathroom, live and neutral into the bedroom. Basically, what you want to do is take another 3-core down to here, where you'll be able to make that a 2-way switch. So you can turn this light on and this light on and off from the top and the bottom of the stairs. You don't have to do both, maybe just do one. But I would think you want to turn the bottom one off as well. Or maybe if these are in conjunction with each other, you put them on the same switch. Depends what the customer wants, but this is what I'd do. And then from this switch, obviously just your live and neutral up again. Live and neutral up from the switch. So basically everything is junctioned inside that switch. This is why we put a 25mm box into the switch. And there is some other little bits that we can do as well. So let's just have a little count up actually how many circuits we've got. We're gonna have an upstairs lighting, downstairs lighting, outside lights, dining room sockets, kitchen sockets, with 2 oven and hob. Then we've got the lounge sockets, bedroom sockets and dining room sockets. So that's basically 12 ways. So these days, the bigger the board, the better. I think the more separated it is, if there ever is a fault on one of them circuits, or someone does any DIY and goes through a cable, then it's not going to take the whole house out. There's no end of houses in there that are wired with basically 1 ring circuit for the whole house. I don't know, you can split them up, you can make them 2 radials now these days, definitely to make it better. But to diversify with your circuits is a good idea in case there is a problem. But if I was rewiring the house as well, there's a few things that I might do a bit extra, just in case if I'm rewiring. I've done it before where I've shoved it in. Basically from here, take a 2.5 up to the loft. This is going to be, you can be a 2.5 or a 1.5 because that's going to be for a TV amp. TV amp. Because then as well, some people later on, they want lights in the soffits. I don't know, it just leaves yourself open to be able to have plenty of cables elsewhere for if you do any other existing work. So this is how I would wire a house. How do you do yours?